a poem. For as long as I can remember, I sought to be free. I fled the confines of a rural existence, said farewell to the factory, square dance halls, the withering orchards. I had in mind to become an artist, poet, and through that pursuit I found my beat and the root of my voice, standing before large sheets of paper tacked to a wall, reciting Sylvia Plath and Vachel Lindsay and Oscar Brown Jr. Frustrated with the image, I draw words instead, rhythms that ran off the page into the plaster. Writing lyrics evolved from the physical act of drawing words, and later, refining this process led me to performance, to collaboration, to playing with a rock and roll band. In the next few years, I took to studying Hank Williams, banged away on an old Gibson. I worked in a bookstore. I drew, I modeled for Robert, I scrawled in my notebooks. I wandered through the debris of the 60s. So much joy, yet malcontent. So many voices raised and snuffed. My generation's heritage seemed in jeopardy. These things came to my mind: the course of the artist, the course of freedom redefined, the recreation of space, the emergence of new voices. And these things I came to express, albeit somewhat awkwardly through the form of rock and roll. Perhaps I had been nothing but a scrappy pawn, but I am nonetheless grateful for the moves I had come to make, and I salute all of those who helped me make them. Jesus died for somebody's sins. In the early 70s, there was no real place in New York City for the new guard to experiment. But in 1973, Hilly Crystal opened the doors to CBGB's, so poets and musicians finally had a room of their own. Hilly was the Good Shepherd, and William Burroughs was our guardian angel. William, oh. I used to wait for him at the lobby of the Chelsea Hotel, and sometimes after he had some drinks at the El Quixote bar, and I'd straighten his tie and help him get a taxi. And he could tell I had a really big crush on him, and he used to say, "My dear, I'm a homosexual." But that didn't really bother me. I just adored him. When Horses was recorded, I owed no small debt to him, for the hero of land was truly a descendant of Johnny and the Wild Boys. William was highly supportive, and it was an honor to see him sitting at a table close to a stage when we played CBGB's. It was an amplified period of existence, with time bleeding through time, a time when all my friends were alive and driven with the collective hope to raise aspects of art, poetry, and rock and roll that had not been raised before. There were no rules, no sudden material expectations, and William generously gave us a nod, often smiling at the notion that he was the spiritual father of another generation of Johnnies.
you ever see Don't Look Back? Don't Look Back too. We have to do things like hail taxis. I used to practice that, you know. Did you ever see Don't Look Back?
Yes.
Steven, you never saw Don't Look Back? You know,
I'll see it now.
I spent like months just learning to hail a taxi, just the way Bob hails a taxi. Remember that scene?
Yeah.
Like, he's trying to hail a taxi like this. And of course, nobody's stopping for him. This in his little plaid jumpsuit. It's really nice. You ought to give your version.